I can read new information about ancient Mesopotamia, take notes, and answer questions to show my understanding. Fill in the blanks on your pink note paper as you follow along with the PowerPoint. Words that need to be written will be underlined on each slide. On your note taker, answer all of the questions in complete sentences. Civilization: the society, culture, and way of life of a particular area. Fertile land: land that is able to support the growth of many plants. Irrigation: when people add water to plants to help them grow when there is not enough rain. Polytheistic: the belief in many gods who are each in charge of different aspects of people's daily lives. Mesopotamia overview: ancient Mesopotamia refers to the place where humans first formed civilizations. It was here that people first gathered in large cities, learned to write, and created governments. For this reason, Mesopotamia is often called the cradle of civilization. The word Mesopotamia means the land between rivers. When people say Mesopotamia, they are referring to a section of land in the Middle East between the Tigris River and the Euphrates River. Today, this land is located mostly in the country of Iraq. The land there is fertile, and there is plenty of water around the major two rivers to allow for irrigation and farming. Early settlers in Mesopotamia started to gather in small villages and towns. As they learned how to irrigate land and grow crops on large farms, the towns grew bigger. Eventually, these towns became large cities. New inventions such as government and writing were formed to help keep order in the cities. The first human civilization was formed. Answer the following question in complete sentences. Make a connection. Explain how irrigation and larger farms helped towns and cities to grow larger. Mesopotamian empires. Sumer. The Sumerians were the first humans to form a civilization. They invented writing and government. They were organized in city-states where each city had its own independent government ruled by a king that controlled the city and the surrounding farmland. Because the Mesopotamian civilization was polytheistic, each city had its own primary god. Sumerian writing, government, and culture would pave the way for future civilizations. Mesopotamian empires, AKKADIA. The Akkadians came next. They formed the first united empire where the city-states of the Sumer were all united under one ruler. The Akkadian language replaced the Sumerian language during this time. It would be the main language throughout much of the history of Mesopotamia. The city of Babylon became the most powerful city in Mesopotamia. Throughout the history of the region, the Babylonians would rise and fall. At times, the Babylonians would create huge empires that ruled much of the Middle East. The Babylonians were the first to write down and record their system of law. Mesopotamian empires, Babylon. Answer the following question in complete sentences. Explain why a system of law is so important in a civilization. Remember, friends, you can always pause this video. Mesopotamian empires, Assyria. The Assyrians came out of the northern part of Mesopotamia. They were a warrior society. They also ruled much of the Middle East at different times over the history of Mesopotamia. Much of what we know about the history of Mesopotamia comes from clay tablets found in Assyrian cities. Mesopotamian empires, Persia. The Persians put an end to the rule of the Assyrians and the Babylonians. They conquered, or took over, much of the Middle East, including Mesopotamia. Interesting facts. The Babylonian law created by King Hammurabi, the Code of Hammurabi, is the oldest known written law in the world. The Sumerians are often credited with inventing the wheel. At the center of each major city was a temple to the city's god called a ziggurat. These looked like a pyramid with very large steps. The Tigris and the Euphrates rivers are both well over 1,000 miles long. Mesopotamia is part of a larger area that archaeologists called the Fertile Crescent. Many of the buildings, walls, and structures were made from sun-dried bricks. These bricks didn't last long, so very little of ancient Mesopotamia cities still stand. Much of what we know about Mesopotamian history comes from thousands of clay tablets found in the library at the Assyrian city of Nineveh. Because this is where people first began to write, Mesopotamia is often called the place where history began. Answer the following questions in complete sentences. Which of these facts do you think is the most interesting? Explain why. We will be spending a lot of time on Hammurabi's Code and the importance of laws within a society. What else would you like to learn more about in our Mesopotamia unit? All information in this presentation was gathered from ducksters.com/Mesopotamia/Ancient Mesopotamia. Please make sure you completely answer all of the questions. Be good people, make good choices.